Yes, Badminton Rack and Review fans, this is our first Badminton Shoe Group Test. In this test we have got the Yonex Power Cushion Comfort Z2s, the Victor P9 500s, Kawasaki's K525s, the Kawasaki Green Ninjas, the K560s, Asics Gelled Beyond 5M T's, and the Li-Ning Gyrofalcon 3 professional badminton shoes. Now, what have we tested and how we tested? So we actually started with a test having hired some sensors that measure shock going up your leg, and we did a bunch of tests. We're not going to include those tests in this video because we didn't feel that the results of the sensor testing compared to our on-court testing really were the same. They weren't consistent with each other. They weren't consistent. So we've abandoned the data from the sensor test because we didn't feel it was accurate enough. Now, in terms of these shoes, the Yonex shoes, they were about 140 pounds. They're now 110. The Victors are about 90 from 130. The Kawasaki's are about 70, the red ones. The Green Ninja Kawasaki's 95 pounds, and the Gel Beyond 5MT about 75 to 80 pounds, and the Li-Ning Gyrofalcons 120 pounds. Now, we made this video we did this testing last year, but we were unable to complete the testing because we were unable to get out due to lockdowns and various other reasons that were occurring at the time. So some of the shoes are difficult to get hold of, particularly the Asics. They're quite difficult to get hold of. We've seen that the Yonex is still available, the Victor's still available, the Kawasaki's are still available, and we sell the Li-Nings ourselves. Now, I would recommend it if you're an Asics fan. I would say that there is comparatives to the Gel Beyond 5MTs, the new version of that. You could always try that because I don't think the specs will be that different. Availability is pretty good worldwide. The Li-Nings are the hardest to get hold of, hence we sell those. Getting hold of them is pretty difficult, but we've got a few sizes left. If you're interested, there's a link below. Now, what did we test? We tested how cool these shoes keep your feet. When you're looking at badminton shoes, what is most important? That's the question we asked. What really matters to badminton players? So we did to test for stability, how stable the foot feels inside the shoe. You know, we want to, because the ankle is where the problem occurs with badminton shoes. We want the ankle to be fairly stable when we're moving around, we're darting about. We want the ankle to be super stable. We want them to be very comfortable. Now, when we talk about comfort, we're talking about the ride of the shoe. You know, the landing comfort. Is it feeling very flat-footed? Is it feeling quite solid on the ground, or is it feeling fairly padded and fairly comfortable? Now, there is a benefit to the having gel and having other aspects in the shoes, because when you land, even if you're just doing a sideward step in badminton, or if you're landing off a jump, the reverberation that goes up into your knees particularly is minimized by these factors, or these design factors in the shoe. So comfort is a big factor. We also looked at the design, and we also looked at the weight of the shoes. This is also important for some people. You know, they don't want to be walking around with super heavy shoes. Right, so the temperature factor. What we did is we took a temperature gun, we measured the temperature in the hall, and then we measured the inside of the shoe. Now, this is just to see how cool the shoe will keep your feet. Now, while the results here that you're seeing on the page may not look massively different, a few degrees up or down makes a huge amount of difference. When you think about 1 degree change in the global atmosphere of the Earth could lead to the polar caps melting, 1 or 2 degrees is quite significant. So, as you can see here, the Li-Ning and the Asics were the coolest shoes, but not by a lot. The Kawasaki Ninjas were pretty cool too, and the Yonex shoe was actually the one that contained most of the heat, so your feet come out hotter from the shoe. Now, the downside of that obviously is it can cause sweat, it can get your feet start smelling, the socks start smelling, the soles start smelling, the shoes need to be washed more regularly and stuff like that. It's more of a hygiene thing. In terms of design, well, we personally felt that the Victor and the two Kawasaki's, I mean, the Kawasaki red shoe is wow. I think it's the best looking the best looking badminton shoe I've ever seen. It's beautiful to look at. The shoe is amazing. And so is the Ninja. I mean, it looks fabulous, and the Victor shoe is also beautifully finished. You know, if you have it in your hand and you're looking at it, it's amazing. The Yonex shoe is okay, it looks pretty standard. It's not a design that I would say is wow. And the Asics and the Li-Nings also don't look amazing particularly. They just look okay. Now, what a really important factor is going to, for everyone watching this, is going to be stability. How stable did the shoes feel? How well guarded do your ankles feel? How well guarded do the front end of the underside of your toes feel? How well is your heel protected? And how good is the shock absorbency for your knees as you're playing badminton? Because it's one of the most common problems that people have after playing years of badminton, is their knees start to suffer. Now, we found that the Yonex, the Victor, and the Asics were the most stable shoe of all of them. The Li-Nings were pretty close to the stability of those three shoes. Really stable, really solid landing platform, very good stability when you're moving out to the side. You know, there's not too much movement, and you do feel like your ankles are protected by the shoe in terms of its remaining fairly solid. Now, the downside of the Kawasaki, because it's a knitted design, your foot moves around in the shoe quite a bit. You get a lot of movement. The shoe moves a lot, which means as you're taking those wide shots in a hurry, your ankle may pronate, and you may get a twisted ankle or a sprained ankle or something that's quite common in badminton, again because there's just a lot of movement in the shoe. So in terms of weight, the actual weight of the shoe, the Gyrofalcon by Li-Ning is the lightest shoe. This is the shoe that is worn by Anthony Ginting. It's a professional badminton shoe worn by the world number 4, number 5 singles player. And you know, I personally use the Li-Ning Gyrofalcons, and they are superb, and everybody who's bought one has loved them. Now, what I would recommend is we use the Li-Nings with a product called the Wonder Sole. Okay, it's quite heavy, thick sole, gel padded. You need a shoe size that's half a size bigger, and what happens is the absorbency rate of the shoe, and for your legs, you just feel a lot fresher coming off the court, and they work really well for badminton. I would highly recommend them. There's a link below, take a look. But so going back to the weight, the Li-Ning was the lightest. Up next, as expected, was the Kawasaki, the knitted, because it's obviously got a lot less material, so it's also very light. Then we have the Asics, which surprised me. I mean, the Asics are indoor volleyball shoes, but that doesn't really matter because a lot of the movements are fairly similar, and a lot of the grip that's required underneath and the support that's required in the shoe is also fairly similar. I personally have been using indoor volleyball shoes for a long time. I found them more effective if you're looking to do jumps and stuff like that than badminton shoes, plain badminton shoes. I thought they were really good. And then the rest of them you can see fall into category. The heaviest out of all of the shoes we tested was the Yonex shoes. So in terms of comfort, now this is huge. Honestly, do not underestimate comfort. Comfort, the two shoes that came out on top were the Li-Ning and the Asics. Really, you do feel a lot of cushioning as you're walking around. If you add in the Wonder Sole that I'm talking to you about, absolutely walking on air, it really is very effective. So you really feel comforted. You really feel like, oh my god, this is like a running shoe. It's almost like a Nike Air kind of feel to having, especially with the Wonder Sole included. It really is a comfortable shoe, the Li-Ning and the Asics. And personally, I would say that in my experience of using them, that's how I found them to be too. They are really super comfortable. So overall, the way it's worked is the Li-Ning and the Asics are the champions of this group test. They are the better shoes. They are supportive enough, they are comfortable enough, they're light, and they maintain your feet. They maintain a good temperature. They have a good airflow going out from your feet, so you have cooler feet. you have a stable space to put your feet into and to move around the court onto, and they're really super comfortable. I would recommend the Victors. I think they are also really, the stability is so amazing in those Victors. The design is also really good. Comfort level is not as good as the Asics or the Li-Nings, but they are the ones that I would say you can also consider if you're not familiar with the Li-Ning or Asics brand. The Yonex don't feel like you have a lot of support. They feel like you're too close to the ground, you're not getting the comfort, you're not getting the sort of foamy shock absorbency that you need in a shoe in 2020, 2021. It's going to be really important. As we move forward, we're going to see more and more of this. I would not recommend the Kawasaki's. The green ones are terrible. I mean, you need to wear long socks because they just eat into your ankle so much as you're playing. It's really disturbing, and they feel like you're walking on, you know, if you're playing on a concrete surface or a hard floor surface, you feel the hard floor. The cushioning levels are just so low that it's not feasible to put them into this category of shoes. They don't compete at the top end. And the Yonex ones, well, to be honest with you, they were quite disappointing. You know, the Yonex are the brand in badminton. They're expected. I mean, their strings are amazing. Some of their rackets are amazing. Their clothing is amazing. Their bags are amazing. Their shuttlecocks are amazing. Their accessories are amazing. Yonex are the brand that everyone aspires to. So really, we were expecting more from this shoe. They don't have enough cushioning. They are very stable, but they're also quite heavy. They don't make your feet. They don't really have a good airflow system, so your feet remain cool. So for us, the top three are the Li-Nings, the Asics, and the Victors. I hope you found this helpful. This is our first shot at doing the shoe reviews. All relevant links are below. We will try to get this information onto the e-zone at some point, but for now, you've got this video to refer to. Don't forget, go to the e-zone. It's all free. You can advertise your club, you can advertise your tournament. It's all free, and it's all there to help promote badminton to come back to life. Any links, we've only got the Li-Ning link below because that's the only one we personally sell. You can get the rest of the shoes pretty easily. It's not too hard. For now, we're out. Thanks for the love. Keep up subscriptions, keep up likes, keep up shares. We'll see you on the next video.